From Southern Colorado's #1 news channel, this is KKTV 11 News at noon.
Dry, hot conditions making it hard for crews to fight wildfires burning in Texas. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. I'm John Harding. We'll have that story in just a bit for you. But first, we start with breaking news. At least 7 people have been shot at an IHOP restaurant in Carson City, Nevada. The gunman was also hurt and taken to the hospital. We have Sammy Davies from our sister station in Reno, which is Colo, on the phone. Sammy, now, what can you tell us right now about this shooting?
Well, we do know that a gunman went into the IHOP in Carson City around 9 o'clock this morning and opened fire. There have been reports that it was a semi-automatic weapon and that 7 people have been shot. We do know 3 were care flighted. 1 was taken by ground ambulance, 2 women and a couple of men. We do know that the gunman has been shot and he's also gone to the hospital. We know that state and federal agencies are on the scene investigating the shooting. And pretty much all we know at this point.
Yeah.
We don't have a cause or a reason for the shooting right now.
Yeah, and I guess that's the big question right now. We're looking at some pictures that were sent in by individuals. The big question is, you know, a motive or anything about the shooter, and right now that's hard to come up with. Now, just to put it in perspective for our viewers, Carson City, about 30 miles south of Reno there. Any word on the area that this was in? I've heard that we did some digging that the IHOP's on the same street as the state capitol. Any word on that area, what it might be like there?
Well, we know no roads are closed. We know that nothing's on lockdown. Right now, they just have the area cordoned off because the gunman has been shot and taken to the hospital. Right now, they're just using the scene as investigating right now. We do hear reports that some local establishments also got hit by bullets. Fandango Casino out there also has bullet holes in their building. A man at a McDonald's drive-thru heard the gunfire, and he's the one that thinks it's a semi-automatic weapon. Again, that hasn't been confirmed, but it seems to have been quite a wide spray of shooting going on.
It certainly sounds like it. Sammy Davies with our sister station there in Reno. Thank you for your time. We certainly appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
And there is a news conference that's happening right now. It just started at 12 our time. We will stay in touch with our sister station. We'll bring you more details from that news conference. Any new information right here on KK. Of course, KKTV.com as well. Let's get a check of your forecast now with Brandon. It's been nice, Brandon, but dry out there.
But dry, and we are starting to see those clouds thicken up a little bit as time goes on here, and that's going to be a trend, John, throughout the afternoon, and eventually we'll see some rain falling from those clouds. Taking a look right now at your St. Francis Medical Center camera. Later on at around 12:15, I'll explain why the next 3 or 4 days will be kind of cool and wet. More on that coming up in just a bit.
Brandon, thank you. Have a plan to get your family to safety. That's the word from the Texas Attorney General as out-of-control wildfires destroy hundreds of homes and force thousands more to leave their homes and belongings behind. Sandra Hughes shows you why firefighters may catch a break today.
Crews are dumping water from above as they battle raging wildfires in central Texas. Sandra Hughes, CBS News.
Governor Rick Perry left the presidential campaign trail to deal with the crisis in Texas. He says fires have burned more than 3.5 million acres in his state. An accused flasher heads to court in the Springs today. This is 31-year-old Augustine Archuleta. He's a registered sex offender accused of exposing himself near West Colorado and 30th Street in the Springs. Investigators say he ran from police and tried to lie about his name after he was caught. Police say the victim positively identified him as the flasher. Also new at noon, we now have a better description of a robber who held up a gas station at knife point. It happened at this Western Convenience on West Uinta. Police say the robber is a Hispanic man in his 20s, about 5'2". He was wearing a black hoodie. They say he threatened the clerk and got away with cash. 11 News will let you know if and when officers do find him. An Air Force staff sergeant will now pay for cheating on a physical fitness test. He's now demoted and sentenced to 14 days of hard labor without confinement. The staff sergeant tried to bribe a subordinate so that they could pass the test. The subordinate refused the bribe but still changed the score. That subordinate has been punished. The staff sergeant is now a senior airman. Both houses of Congress return to work this week. Job number one, to get Americans back to work. The president unveils his plan Thursday night, and Danielle Nottingham shows you his Republican challengers are rushing out plans of their own.
President Obama gave a sneak preview of his jobs plan in Detroit, challenging Congress to get on board. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, the White House.
And Michelle Bachmann's campaign manager is leaving. He says he doesn't have the stamina for the long campaign days. He says Rick Perry has changed the dynamic of the campaign, and it's now raced between Perry and Mitt Romney, with Bachmann in third place. Well, how about a free evening of food and fun? We're giving away 2 tickets to the 9th annual Taste of Douglas County. You'll enjoy food samples and beverages from more than 50 restaurants, and tickets are for this Thursday starting at 5 p.m. Now, we mentioned this before the show on Twitter. The 11th caller to 636-9252 will win these tickets. Again, 636-9252. Be the 11th caller to win. Well, we continue to follow the breaking news, the latest on the shooting at an IHOP restaurant. We now know some have died. We had that story right after the break. Also, Pepsi and the NFL have struck a huge agreement, how much the deal is worth, and what you'll now see on the sidelines. Also, we've enjoyed the cooler weather. Now comes the rain. We'll show you when to expect it in your neck of the woods. Plus, rebels say Gaddafi is still in Libya. They just don't know where. The links he may be taking to avoid capture when 11 News at Noon returns.